Hi everybody, I'm going to try to go ahead and make some videos as I do things. So I'm going to show you how to make a quiz. I just did a review, or I just did the test for my first unit for algebra, and I'm going to go back and do the review sheet. So let me just show you what it looks like to begin with. So if I go to content, right now I've loaded week 5, and right now that is not visible to the kids. But if I go into Friday, and I open this up, you can see that I put in the test. So basically I gave them the instructions, told them what to do, and the test is there. So I'm going to switch, I'll say save. I'm going to switch to view as learner, and I'll go to content just so you can see what they would see. And I'm not actually sure if I can see it this way. I think I have to go into the test because it's still not available for kids. Yeah, it's not active. So I can't even do that as a learner. So let me pull out of this, and I'll just go to class tools, and I'll go to quizzes. And what I can do is I can show you this test. So it's due on the 16th. I'm making tests due Fridays at 3, and I'm giving them on probably Friday morning is when I'll open it, unless there's exceptional circumstances. So I want to preview this. So let's see how to do that. So I can preview on that little arrow right here, and I'll start the quiz. So what I have is one question per page. I've noticed that on the Chromebooks the screen is so little, it's better just to do one question per page. So here is a multiple choice question. So then here is one where they can fill it in. So notice they can add a file, they could record audio or video, and they could do it with the editor, I think. Let's see. No, I'm not sure that they can. So I'm going to go with add a file. I thought they could do it with the math editor, but I guess I don't know that yet. So going on to the next page, it'll tell you how many questions you have answered and so on. And when you're done, you submit it. Their estimated length is an hour. It's not a hard fit, so I didn't say they must finish in an hour, but I did tell them in the directions. So if you go to content, this test is the same test I gave last year that they had 40 minutes for. So I said, if you do take longer, please let me know how long it took you. So like last year I limited them to class plus lunch, so the longest students took 60 minutes, but this year I wouldn't have that opportunity. So let me go to making it. So I would go to class tools, I would go to quizzes, and I'm going to make a new quiz. So I'm going to call it Unit 1 Review Sheet. I'm not going to add a category right now, although I could. Grade 8 Review Unit, which is what it is. But I'm not going to call it because it's actually our polynomial unit. Now this quiz is currently empty, but I'm just going to do the introduction right now. I'm going to say this is our review sheet for our Unit 1 test. I'm not going to have an introduction on. I'm not going to have a footer. I'm not going to have a header. I might allow hints on this one because it's a review sheet. And when they finish it, I'm going to say thanks for completing the review sheet, the Unit 1 review sheet. So when they get submitted, they will get that. So I'll save it and close it right now. And here it is. It's not visible to students. Now I'm just going to edit it. So it says this quiz is empty. Add or edit questions. So you have a couple choices. You can import, but your files that are accepted are a CSV file, and a CSV needs to come from a Google Sheet, and none of my stuff is in Google Sheets right now. They're all in Google Drive. So I'm not going to do the work to change it from Google Drive to Google Sheets. I'm going to do the work to go from Google Drive to here. So here is my review sheet from last year. And normally I would have it opened up in a different window, but I want you to see it just to start, and then I'm going to pull it out of here so it won't show up in this spot for the recording. So I would add a question, and I'm going to choose new question. You can go by section. You can create a pool of questions. Right now I'm going straight and simple and just adding questions. They can later be imported into a bigger pool of questions. So you have a choice of a lot of different things, short answer, true or false. The ones I've used so far, true and false, multiple choice, and written response. I have not done any of the others. You probably in different subjects would use different ones, but I'm going to focus on those three for right now. So right now I'll start with a written response. Here's my question text. I'm looking at my actual already written thing, and I'll pull up the math. I realize only science and math are going to use this, but it's part of my subject, so I'm going to show it. So I would have negative 3x squared plus 5x minus 19, and then plus 4x quantity squared, or not quantity squared, just 4x squared, minus 2x, close. I'll insert that, and that's what it looks like, is on the right. I can enable an HTML editor. I'm going to do that now because I want to see what that looks like. That's, I think, maybe what I want. Yes. So I will probably do that with them, and enable inserted images. So I'm going to say that this is worth 2 points, and we'll click Save. Now, I did not go to the options, so I'm going to go back in here. Up at the right top, there's choices. So add feedback, add hint. So since I allowed hints, I'm going to give it a description of the hint. So if a kid is stuck, remember, we know 2 ways to do this. You can use the vertical method or the horizontal method. If you are stuck, review your rules of exponents and the video on polynomial addition and subtraction. You are adding. The biggest problem my kids had was they wanted to try to multiply this because we learned multiplying right after. So I can choose Save, and the first question is done. Now I can add another question. I will do a new question. I'm going to choose multiple choice. Now instead of stealing from what I have, I'm going to pull up something different just to show you how to get content from different places. So I'm going to go to Jmap, which is a really common source for Regents questions here. So I can go to, and let's say that I want to get a polynomial degree. That might come up for me, and it's not going to. So polynomials. I'm not in Jmap. Okay, Jmap. I want to be in Algebra 1. So here we go. I'm going to search by Algebra 1. I've got all my topics, and now I'll say polynomial. I guess right here. I was in Jmap. Okay. Operations with polynomials. I can go to a PDF version, and I have multiple choice questions now. Now I have a choice. I can make this larger if I want to, so you can see it a little bit better. I could use my snipping tool, which I don't have because I'm using my personal computer right now, but if you use the snipping tool and you take snips, so I could take the snips of this and then take a snip of 1, 2, 3, and 4, you have to save them as images. And in order to do that, otherwise you can't upload them. So I feel like it's just as easy to copy the text, to be honest, rather than dealing with cutting and pasting and snipping, but it does depend on the length. So I'm going to pull this over so it's where I can see it. I'll go back here and I'll show you multiple choice. So I'll say, what is the sum of, and I'll pull up my equation editor. So negative 3x quantity squared minus 7. Oh, making a mistake. So minus 7x plus 9, insert, and And it confused me in the beginning where it showed this up here, but look at the right and you'll see that that's what the question actually looks like if you're using the equation editor. So negative 5x quantity squared plus 6x minus 4. Okay, now I can put in my answers. So my answer is negative 8. Oh, I need to give math again. So here we go. I know this feels like it's taken a long while, but it's important to actually give questions. Minus x plus 5. Now it's nice to take my test questions from a place that I know the answers are reliable, because when I'm doing answer keys, I almost always make one silly mistake, and if I'm letting the computer grade it, that will be a frustration if it auto grades incorrectly. I know with Google Forms last year I had that trouble sometimes, that I was giving points back and it wasn't very fun. Whereas pen and paper, it's kind of easy to do. But you guys might not make mistakes quite as often as I do. I seem to make them frequently. So here we go, negative 8x to the 4th minus 13x squared plus 13. Now the nice thing about Jmap is it tells you the answer, so that was problem number 1. So I just go down, I know it's choice 1. So I have to select that's the answer. I'm going to randomize the answer order, because I know that even though I tell kids not to use their notes and not to consult with each other, they're going to. So I'm going to say randomize answer order and give it 2 points. That way, at least they can't discuss so much what the answer is. Now I choose save, and then I notice, oh, I forgot to do the options again. So let's go here and go to options, and I'll add hint. Okay, and my hint is be careful with your exponent addition, with your like terms. Remember, you are adding. So kids can use the hint if they want to here. So now we have 2 questions. So I'm going to go back to settings, since I now have 2 questions, and I can choose to shuffle questions at the quiz level. I can put 1 question per page. I can prevent moving backwards, but I'm not going to. I know my son at the high school, a lot of his teachers have prevented moving backwards, and it really irritates him. And I know it would bug me, so I'm not going to prevent that. And I'm going to save this. I'm not going to save and close because I want to look at the other things. The restrictions, it has a due date. We can put the due date in there. So I know my due date is going to be Thursday, the 15th. I know it's going to be at 9 p.m. following with the school guidelines. I did change the quiz, the actual test, to be 3 p.m. because I don't want them working past 3 on a test on Friday. Assessment, this would be allow attempt to be set as graded. No, because I have to actually grade some of them because it's not all multiple choice. If it were all multiple choice, I could do that. I could add a grade item. I'm still struggling with grades in this platform, so I'm using School Tool right now and not stressing about it. I could allow an automatic export to grades, but it won't work because it's not auto-graded. I have no objectives, I haven't gone there yet, and that's all I need. So I'm going to choose save and close. And now let's just suppose that I wanted to put this in content. So I can go back, and I would go back to my week 5. I know that we're going to be doing this on Wednesday, so I can edit this page that has no information in it yet. I just know it's Wednesday 10/14, so I will choose my basic page. I'm going to take away the picture here, and I'll say Wednesday 10/14, so they're always aware of that. And we can insert the quiz, or insert the review sheet. So review sheet, I'll put some information, give info about review sheet. And now I'm going to do that, and I will choose insert, and I need to find quizzes. So I'll just find quizzes and unit 1 review sheet. So here it is. If I don't think that's big enough, I can change it. If I want it centered, I can do that. And I'm just going to leave it there. Okay, now I'll choose save, and I'm just going to show what it will look like. So for a student, that doesn't really show what it'll look like. So I will do view as learner, go to content, go to Wednesday. Here's the review sheet. The reason I put that Wednesday 10:14 is because for whatever reason kids just don't see that up there. So I want them to constantly remember what day we're on. Now we're back to content, and that's how you add a quiz. So the review, it can be a review sheet. I'm going to keep it as something that was graded, quote graded. It's not going to count because I want them to see how they would do on a test. I tend to do review sheets that mimic the tests. So if they can do the review sheet well, they can do the test well. So that is it.